One of the questions we get from our clients is, how do you know what a healthy dental practice should look like? And the second question is, are you sharing our practice's data? The answer is no. We benchmark over 35 plus dental practices without ever revealing anyone's private financial information. Today, I'm going to explain how benchmark actually works, why it matters, and how it protects confidentiality while still giving you clarity. Here is the problem. Most dentists operate in isolation. You see what your numbers are, you see what your own payroll is, your own dental supplies, and your own lab costs. But you don't know if your employee expenses are truly high, if your overhead expenses are normal, if your EBITDA margin is strong, if your profit margin is competitive or not. Without benchmarking, you're guessing. And guessing leads to either false confidence or unnecessary stress. If we haven't met, my name is DJ Bhola, and we specialize in bookkeeping and financial reporting for dental practices. We help practices get clean, updated monthly financials so that ownership can make better decisions. On this channel, we focus on clear numbers, better decisions, and higher profits for your dental practice. Let's start with what benchmarking is not. It is not sharing Dr. Smith spends 37% on payroll. This practice has $2.1 million in revenue. The office makes $600,000 in profit. We never share individual practice data. What we do is aggregate percentages across 35 plus practices and identify consistent ranges. For example, across healthy single location practices, we consistently see employee expenses are around 31%, lab expenses at 5.8%, overhead expenses around 9.77%. Average single practice often operates near a 35% EBITDA margin. Group practices typically operate closer to a 17% EBITDA margin. These are not individual disclosures. They are anonymized averages and patterns. Here is how we benchmark without revealing data. Number one, we use percentages, not dollars. We never compare raw revenue numbers. We compare categories as a percentage of income. That removes identifying details. If practice A does $900,000 in collections and practice B does $2 million, the percentage structure is still comparable. Percentages protect confidentiality. Number two, we aggregate, not isolate. We don't say this one practice spends 9% on dental supplies. We say across 35 plus practices, dental supplies consistently fall near 5 to 6%. It is a pattern recognition, not a disclosure. Number three, we separate single practices from group practices. A single location practice with owner-doctor production behaves differently than a multi-location group. Single practices often near 35% EBITDA margin when well managed. Group practices often near 17% EBITDA margin due to scale, associate pay, and layered management. We benchmark within comparable structures. That makes the comparison relevant and confidential. Number four, we look for consistency across time. 1 month does not create a benchmark. We look at trends over multiple months, stability in expense categories, patterns across practices. If employee expenses consistently cluster near 31%, that becomes a reliable reference point. Let's demonstrate this with an example. Let's say your practice shows employee expenses at 36%, dental supplies at 8%, lab at 7%, EBITDA at 26%. You might think maybe this is normal. But when we compare that to aggregated benchmarks, payroll is 5% higher than average. Dental supply is again 2 to 3% higher, and lab is slightly high. EBITDA margin is below expected 35% for a single practice. That doesn't expose anyone's data. It simply shows where your structure differs from consistent patterns. Benchmarking provides context, not comparison to specific office. Here's why benchmarking matters. Without benchmarking, you don't know if your profit is strong, you don't know if your EBITDA margin is competitive, you don't know if expenses are aligned. With benchmarks, you identify inefficiencies quickly. You spot increases early. You make confident adjustments. You stop guessing. Benchmarking reduces emotional decision making. It replaces opinions with reference points. This is what it feels like for practice owners. When owners see their percentages compared to aggregated data, they often say, "I didn't realize we were that far off," or "I didn't realize we were actually doing pretty good." Benchmarking creates clarity. Clarity creates control. Control increases profit. Here is what I would take away from this video. We benchmark 35 plus dental practices by using percentages, not dollars, aggregating data, not isolating offices, identifying consistent patterns over time. No private information is shared, but powerful context is certainly created, and context changes how you see your numbers, because profitability is not about guessing. It's about understanding where you stand relative to proven patterns. If you've never seen your practice compared against aggregated benchmarks, that visibility alone can change how you make decisions. Because when you know where you stand, improvements become intentional. Clear numbers, better decisions, and higher profits for your dental practice. And I will see you in the next one.